Hello and welcome to another week of what I've watched. I'm hoping you can see me okay. I've got my camera, I can't see what it's videoing because my flip thing won't work on this bloody ring light. So this is what I've watched in the first week of February. Now there's quite a few more than I would usually have. I'm just going to pop the old screen recorder on. Right, there it goes. So you can see there, sort of the first week of February, I've watched quite a few movies. I've consciously tried. We haven't been watching a series. I've finished How to Get Away with Murder. We finished the glass-blowing series on Netflix called Blown Away, which we both really enjoyed. We wish there were a few more to watch, but alas, no. So on the 3rd of January, I watched a movie that's come to Netflix very recently called All My Friends Are Dead. Now, I give this a 3.5 out of 5. I don't know what my husband's thought to this, but the end of this amused me a great deal. This is... Was it Polish? My husband sat behind me, by the way. This is a comedy horror. Now, anyone that has watched my channel for any length of time knows I don't get on well with comedy horrors, with the exception of Shaun of the Dead, to an extent the Evil Dead series, but to me that's not particularly slapstick funny. But this, whereas most of, I said 3/4 of it is your typical movie, nothing standout, although I enjoyed it, I'll admit I enjoyed the characters. The last 20 minutes of this really amused me. It actually did make me laugh out loud, and that's not... And my husband turned to me and said, "Are you actually laughing at that?" So maybe he didn't find it quite as funny as I did. But there are little nods to a load of horror films in this, but I think you have to be quite a horror fan to get what they are because they're not completely obvious. Off the top of my head, Carrie's referenced in there. If you've seen it, tell me if you get where Carrie's referenced. Halloween is referenced in there, that's the slightly more obvious one. But it's a really fun watch. I would recommend it. I think my screen recorder has switched off, has it? Yep, so I would recommend that one. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Nothing to be taken too seriously. And I thought not the exact end, because you know when a film goes just too far and you think they should have ended 10 minutes ago? Well, kinda this is the case in this one. But the sort of final major scene made the film for me, so I would recommend it. I thought it was a lot of fun. On the same evening, I watched a movie called The Cleansing Hour. To my memory, this was on Prime, Amazon Prime. Right, yes, this is one about a guy that is pretending to be a priest doing exorcisms online. If you watch the series 911, he's in that. If you're a lady watching this, it's very easy on the eyeball. My husband won't appreciate that, it's that behind me. But he is like a faker. He pretends to be a priest and pretends to do...
Is that an Irish pronunciation?
What?
He's a faker.
A faker. He's a faker. He fakes exorcisms.
Oh, there, thank you.
And, I've lost my flow. So he fakes exorcisms... Oh, hang on.
Go on, keep it in.
He fakes exorcisms. I can't talk at the best of times.
Spit it out now.
And you can imagine what happens. We get a real one. I enjoyed this one also. I didn't come away thinking, oh, that was fantastic, but I didn't come away thinking that was a waste of time, which a lot of the times is the case in modern horror. It was entertaining enough. I liked it. So I would recommend that. I think I had heard that was terrible, so I'd avoided it. I hadn't watched it, but I'm sort of running out of stuff to watch, so I gave it a go and I enjoyed it. So, The Cleansing Hour. Next evening, right, the next one I won't waste any time on. It's called Next. Nicolas Cage is in it. As I say, we're running out of stuff to watch. I have seen it before. I got it confused with another movie he did about being able to tell what's going to happen in the future, which has now come on Netflix and I've forgotten what it's called. Knowing. It's called Knowing. Next is a movie where Nicolas Cage can see 2 minutes into the future, so he knows everything that's going to happen. There's an aspect of trying to stop terrorism in this. They want him to help. He doesn't really want to help. It's pretty dire, to be honest. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I like Nicolas Cage, so I rewatched it. But he's not the reason it's bad in the way that he's the reason that the Wicker Man remake was bad. But he's not the reason. This is just a poor film, so... If you haven't seen it, I wouldn't rush out to watch it.
Next.
On the same evening, I watched one called Bound to Vengeance. This is just a very stereotypical sort of revenge movie. This is about a young woman that has been kidnapped and kept by a man. This man has also kept a lot of other women in the same situation. She does something that to me is completely unbelievable in that this is not spoilers, this is right at the start of the movie. The movie is about her trying to help the other woman. Now, anybody I know and me, I'll be quite honest, if I got out of that situation, I'm off skate, I'm gone. I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to tell the police there's other women. I'm not about to put myself at risk. But she does. She goes and tries to help the other ladies, and it's a film about that. Won't go into any more detail. I gave it a 3 out of 5 because it was your pretty stereotypical average horror. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't bad. It's worth a watch. The next evening I watched a movie called... No, this isn't a movie. This was like a short, 52 minutes. It's called Accomplice. I watched this with Isaac because I thought he would like it, and Darren. It was recommended by Carl from Curly Neo 9 channel. It's about bikers, as in pedal bikes, not bikers, as in motorbike bikes. It's about the stunts these guys do and the things that they jump off, and in one case, terrible accidents people have, which it doesn't show you incidentally. It is a 12. I'm not quite sure why. It's perfectly suitable for... Maybe there's language in it, but if there is, it went over my head. You know, it's not littered with it. 52 minutes about guys doing stunts on... it's a true story. It shows footage from when their kids getting their first bikes for Christmas, trying and practicing the stunts as they're growing up, and then it shows them as grown men and what they can do, and it's kind of scary stuff. So yeah, worth a watch if you like that kind of thing. If you can hear a cacophony, Isaac is doing something upstairs. On the same evening, I watched The Dig. Now, this is one you have to kind of be in the mood for, but anyone I know that had seen it said it was really good, and it was. This is a movie set during sort of World War II time. It's about a lady that lives on an estate, loads of land, and she wants to begin excavation, hence The Dig, to find if there's anything on her land. And there is. This is a true story. Look into the people afterwards when you've actually watched it, and it's interesting and disappointing in equal measure. I won't tell you why. Watch it for yourself. Really interesting movie. Not going to be something if you want loads of action, but if you like a good story, it's the kind of movie that my granddad would have loved. Just a really good solid story, good characters. I would recommend The Dig. 3.5 out of 5. Next evening, Anamorph. Now, it took me a couple of watches to watch this because I was knackered when I first had a go. This was alright, this was quite good. I think it was trying to be 7 and it didn't achieve that. It maybe thinks it's a little bit cleverer than it actually is. It's a movie with Willem, I pronounced it correctly, Willem Dafoe. Yes, I'm one of those people that calls him William Dafoe. And he's a detective trying to find a serial killer who is trying to give him clues via art in different means. Some nice little gore scenes in here, not loads, more thriller than horror. Interesting watch, worth a watch, I would recommend. Yes, 3 out of 5. I'm trying to go through this as fast as I can. I'm aware I waffle and talk rubbish. Same evening, Come Play. No, I watched this that afternoon actually. I watched this with Isaac, and Isaac will not be watching most horror movies again because he is now frightened after having watched this. No, it's not scary. Come Play. This is a movie, it's a 12, in America it's a PG-13. It's a movie about a young boy who has autism, who is non-verbal, who through technology manages to in some way contact a monster of sorts. I don't want to tell you too much. And this is a movie about the little boy and that monster and his family and his friends. And it scared Isaac, so if you have young children, Isaac's almost 10 now, he would be a little bit sensitive. When myself and my husband were growing up, we both loved horrors. I mean, we watched horrors from younger than when Isaac is now. But Isaac would be that little bit more sensitive, so I think anything sort of ghosty, paranormal, that sort of thing. So we're going to have to be quite careful about what we let him see. But I would recommend it. I thought it was a nice solid little movie, nothing amazing, but worth a watch, definitely. Come Play. 3 out of 5. Right, okay, this next one. I'm going to struggle with what to say about this because it's one of those movies when you think more about it, you maybe feel differently about it than when you finished it. It's Saint Maud, one that a lot of people are talking about at the moment. I have given it a 3.5 out of 5. Initially I gave it a 3 out of 5, then I thought a bit more about it. This is a movie about a young nurse or carer that has discovered God, I suppose, and has become quite devout, but she's obsessional with it. She becomes obsessed with the idea of saving this woman's soul that she's caring for. I think the woman that she's caring for has cancer, want to die, it's palliative care. And the movie is very, for three quarters, more than three quarters of this movie is quite slow. The acting performances is very, very good. The cinematography is gorgeous in places in this. It's obviously very well put together. It's made by A24, which would explain why it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But the ending of this, I heard someone say it's going to be very divisive and a lot of people are going to hate it. I think the ending is what my husband and myself liked most about it. I think it dragged quite a bit in the middle. I loved what happened at the end, and there was a little bit of imagery leading up to the end that was really good, that was really effective, and it just made me wish we'd had more of that. There's my bloody camera off again because I'm talking too much. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it, watch it, but be aware it's mostly drama based, it's more about mental health and obsession than anything else, but there are a couple of cool scenes approaching the end, so St. Maud. On that same day, yes, I watched 3 movies that day. We watched Bloody Hell. Now, this is one that I probably, in all honesty, would have overlooked. This is one that was recommended by Aaron from Screen Stars. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is, again, there's something wrong with me. This is another comedy horror that I liked. This is one about a guy that is... I have to be careful how much I say. This guy is kidnapped and kept at a place by a family, and one member of that family is perhaps not as messed up as the rest, and they try to help him. I don't want to say any more. There's like little bits of gore in this that's actually funny, and that maybe sounds a bit warped that I'm saying that, but if you're a horror fan, I think you'll have a laugh with this. It is funny. It's not like stupid funny. It's, I don't know, I can't explain it. Well, how would you explain the comedy in this?
Hansel and Gretel meet the Goonies.
Hansel and Gretel meet the Goonies. But I liked it. It appealed to me. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. For me, generally, I've said this before, but if you're new, most movies, if I enjoy them, are a 3 out of 5. If I like them that bit more than normal, they're a 3.5. If I think they're fantastic, they're a 4. But they have to be pretty damn special to be a 5. Very few films reach the heady heights of a 5. So yeah, Bloody Hell, really enjoyed it. It's completely different to St. Maud. I've given them both the same score, but they're both well worth a watch. We've only got 2 left, guys. On the 7th, I watched Freaky. Now, I know this is quite popular in the horror community. I didn't like this. This is the one with Vince Vaughn and a teenage girl who, it's like a horror remake of Freaky Friday, but Vince Vaughn is a serial killer. He switches bodies with a teenage girl. And the film's basically about how they're both getting on in each other's bodies and about trying to get back to their own. Well, the serial killer I don't think wants to. Obviously the girl does. I found the humour really not funny in this. I didn't like any of the characters. She had a friend that I liked. I really didn't care for the teenage girl. Vince Vaughn, I didn't particularly... I don't know. A lot of people thought this was really funny and really witty. I wasn't one of them, so that's just my opinion. I gave it a 2.5, because there was nothing really wrong with the acting, the cinematography, nothing wrong with any gore scenes, not that there were that many of them, but it wasn't for me, so that's Freaky. And lastly, on the same evening as Freaky, and thankfully it redeemed the day somewhat, was The Wolf of Snow Hollow. Now again, this is another comedy horror. The comedy is a lot more subtle in this one, but the humour was more up my street in this one. This is I will read what it says in the synopsis. A stressed out police officer struggles not to give in to the paranoia that grips his small mountain town as bodies turn up after each full moon. So obviously we're talking a werewolf movie here. The young sheriff, not sheriff, he's a detective, his father's the sheriff, who really needs to retire because he's not in very good health. Who's he played by? Because he's an actor that's in everything that I really like. Robert Forster, who is Sheriff Hadley Marshall. His son is John Marshall, and he is stressed out as a stressed out thing can be. And this situation and his father's deteriorating health is not helping any. And this is basically this small town trying to find out what's happening and trying to stop it. And they managed to do it in a funny manner. But also there is that air of tension also when we have the killings. So yeah. So yeah, that's the last one I watched this week, The Wolf of Snow Hollow. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I would heartily recommend that one. Something is coming to Netflix this week called, Lucy's forgotten what it's called, something about the Cecil Hotel, which is the one where the girl, there's footage everywhere. Anyone that likes a spooky story of the girl in the lift that appears to be acting really weird in this hotel, and then something happens to her. I'm not going to tell you what in case you don't know the story, but there's a true crime documentary coming to Netflix this week. I believe, could it be today? The 9th? It might be, is this the 9th or the 8th?
No.
It might be today. It's coming this week anyway, and it's something about the Cecil Hotel. Can't remember the full title, sorry, but check it out if you like things that are that bit odd, because it's always really interested me. The hotel itself's got quite an interesting history and freakiness about it. I might cover this one actually as a true crime one, because there will be a bit of interest surrounding this case at the moment. I had intended to do Jill Dando next. It was requested by someone, and I will be doing that. I've got very specific ideas on that one. Me and my husband share ideas on that one. We think there's a lot more if you can hear moaning, my husband is making noises at the dog in the background.
Talk, we're having a
That
chat.
sounded rude.
She's talking to me. She's going.
I says, I'm doing a video, can you not say anything? And he's moaning in the background. So, that's it for the week. Look out for the Cecil Hotel thing on Netflix, and yeah, check out some of those movies. If you've seen any of them, let me know what you thought. I'm a bit perplexed by my sudden liking of comedy horrors, but maybe they're just coming out with ones that are more my cup of tea. I don't know. Is there anything you would recommend that you've seen recently that I haven't? There are quite a few on my list. I've got White Tiger on the list, Malcolm and Marie. I'm still waiting on Father with Anthony Hopkins and what's her name? Olivia Colman. I'm dying to see that. I think that's going to be one of my favourites of the year. But yeah, let me know below in the comments if there's anything you want me to check out, and I shall see you guys next week. Over and out from Lisa Lives.